Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? I'm running a bit late.
What do I want?
Whoops. What does she want? Who cares? I don't. So, how's everybody doing this afternoon? I ran around earlier doing some errands earlier today, so ran out, did some light grocery shopping. All I really did was just pick up some drinks, kombucha, oat milk. I'm trying to remember what the other thing was, which it slips me. So well, I just can't remember. Anywho, it was, kombucha, oat milk, mineral water. So fairly short and simple day. I read some errands in town. Not too much. I found out the reason why my dog keeps gaining weight. Hence the title of this stream. Apparently my dog has been eating cat poop. Which, why, I don't know. I usually go out with him. I'm watching him, making sure he's not getting into anything, making sure he's all right, not chasing after anything or anyone. So why that is, who knows, other than they are just known to do that. But I do have some news. Oh, and I forgot, I picked up a Halloween tree today, one of those light up ones. So I will be setting up a Halloween display pretty soon. I had been wanting to do it for a while. I wasn't sure if I was going to go through with it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I don't know if anyone's interested in or not, but I'll film the unboxing and setup for it. I don't know, other than maybe putting spider webs on it, what I would do to set up decorations for it. So I don't know, maybe you guys can help me decide and see what else to add. I don't have my vintage skeletons out here. Those stayed back home, so I don't have any way of just putting up side decorations on the side of it. I'm sure I can find something at Party City, Michael's, wherever. I know a lot of places are starting to bring out their Halloween stuff, so that shouldn't be too hard to find anything. So it looks like we have two people out there watching. Hello, how are you guys doing? Hope you're having a great Saturday, or a relaxing one at least. So I did get the Halloween tree that I had been debating on, and I'm looking to do another giveaway this October. I like to, for some reason, time them around Halloween. I don't know. I guess it comes off as, to me, an appropriate time to give away horror movies. So it'll probably be another trivia stream, and we'll just go off of whoever gains or gathers the most points as far as who the winner for that would be. I'm not too sure how many mystery boxes there would be in the giveaway, so we'll see. I need to pull some stuff aside, and from there just determine how big the prize boxes would be, and if so, how many, and we will go from there. But I am looking to do Vlogoween this year, so I'm about a month and a half behind. I was looking to start filming in June, and you know how it goes. I had an attack of reality, or an attack of life. So let's see. So I'll be off to a late start. Hopefully I can get all of those filmed and done, and I'm not editing at breakneck like I was last year, filming the exact day that the video was supposed to be up. We have Ricky in the chat. My Sunday just started. It's 5 a.m. here. How are you? Well, happy Sunday to you. You're up awfully early. I don't get up until 10 on weekends. But yeah, doing all right. I'm just coming into my resting part of the weekend. I ran some errands earlier. But other than that, not too much going on. Yeah, so hopefully some big changes coming soon, some exciting stuff. Hopefully I can get to a point to where I can start filming reviews again. So that would definitely liven the channel up and add to some variety. Hey, Marty.
Hey, sorry I was late. Just
No, you're all right.
uh,
I just figured I would just jump on since I was running late myself. I couldn't find them. Oh, I was running around looking for them. I look down and my earbuds are right on my desk in front of me.
they're always the last place you look.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, because I know I can sound kind of distant or echoey whenever I'm just on the laptop.
I like again. I do need to get a proper, more
Bed early.
professional set of headphones.
Mr. Ricky goes to bed at 9 p.m. I try to go to sleep at a decent hour. Usually it's not until 11 or 11:30 or midnight by the time I'm to sleep. I'm pretty bad about that.
I used to stay up till all hours of the morning, but I just don't have the energy. I think once you get older, it's just like, hey, I'll stay up and marathon these movies, and then you're like, nah,
Yeah.
it's only like a quarter past midnight, and you're like, screw this, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Well, the process of getting older, it's so fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. The what it does to your knees is fantastic. Kneeling down, Jesus.
Yeah, I had that the other day. I had crouched to get something, and right away I'm like, ow, 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 get off, get off, get off. I'm like, I'm telling myself to get off my knee.
This is no longer a load bearing joint. Shit.
No, no, not at
um,
all.
are you freeballing it tonight, or have you any particular topics, or are you just letting the chat
Um,
go where it wants?
yeah, I mean, I kind of just jumped in about talking about random stuff. I had topics and then I forgot. But apparently the title of today's stream is I discovered my dog's gaining weight because he's been eating cat doo-doo.
Oh, okay. Whoa, whoa.
I know.
Wait. That can't be. I know dogs are resilient when it comes to consuming stuff. Like the old adage is hungry as a dog, but like, Jesus, that can't be good.
No, I mean it's also him just getting little side snacks and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been working with him to try and get his weight down. It's just he got caught today just eating Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, okay. Like, is is there a particular? I'm guessing it depends on the breed, but like what's a GMI, gross body mass index? Is there, like, is he supposed to be at a particular kind of weight for his breed, or?
He's a rat terrier, so the vet has suggested because he's at 12 pounds right now, and the vet tells me he's overweight. He needs to lose a few pounds.
I'm like, obviously, like, every once in a while you take him for a walk and stuff like that. But is there any other
I do.
activities?
Yeah, I've gotten better about it. I know there was a time when his joints were acting up. He had a hip issue, and I backed off from taking him out for walks, and that's where he started to gain the weight. And he's doing better now. I have him on little joint vitamins. I have him on some doggy CBD, and it's kind of like he's back to his old self now, just running around and playing.
Do you have a park near you where you've moved to? Is there a park that you can take him out? I don't know if he goes fetch or anything like that. Did you let him tear around or?
He runs around, he plays with the cat. He used to play fetch properly, but he got teased so much to where people would pretend to fake throw things now, to where if you toss something for him, he'll bring it back and then he'll tease you. He won't give it to you.
It's like, well, you treat me like a dick, I'm gonna treat you like a dick. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with the dog on that one.
I'm like, it's like you ruined my dog. I can't play with him right now. He doesn't play
Broke my
properly.
dog.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches. Well, what age is he, Cara, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 8 years old.
Okay, that's not that old for a dog, so he should still be fairly active as well. So,
Mhm. Yeah,
um,
he loves
well,
the evening walks. He does all right. He doesn't get tired or anything, so it's not an issue to where I have to pick him up and carry him or anything.
is he one of these? Is he kind of a hyper pooch when he's like, he knows he's getting ready to go for a walk? He'll be like, he'll pick up his lead and he'll have it to you, and the minute you open the door, he just tears out like a bullet.
Yeah, he gets really excited. He'll start hopping around and things like that. He's always liked that. I think
Like,
that's funny. Toodles sounds like a breed of type of dog. I'm like, it's short for Toodaloo. That's his full name.
terrier poodle, Toodles.
Yeah, he's a rat terrier, but kind of like Toodaloo, like when somebody's off in the head, he's bonkers. He's a bit
Yeah,
Toodaloos,
Toodles.
and it got
Uh,
shortened to Toodles. Yeah, except for the Caca eating.
the like, did he go into the like? I don't know if you have a garden area or I'm after forgetting the name of it. Those kind of sandpits that you have for cats to poop in.
Yeah, I mean,
Kitty litter.
yeah, indoors we have kitty litter. There's a gate to keep him from passing through, but then outside there's a big common area where people take their dogs and their stray cats. So that's where that problem came from.
Mm, I would say try the old age old test at him of like dipping his nose in it, but he seems to enjoy it. So
Why, I don't know, but apparently I'm of the understanding dogs are prone to eating cat excrement.
I love dogs. I love dogs over cats.
Hmm.
I think cats are selfish kind of animals. But I will be the first to tell you that there are some breeds of dogs that are just absolutely kind of clueless when it comes to things. We had a sheepdog, lovely sheepdog, but she got herself stuck in the fence so
Uh,
many times, just her back legs and tail sticking at the
mm,
back. And it's like, this is the fifth time you've done this. Surely you realise this is not a viable way of trying to escape.
yeah,
Uh, But I'm not saying your dog is kind of goofy or anything like that. I'm just saying that they're not. It depends. I'd say it depends on the breed,
hmm.
but some of them aren't the sharpest tools in the drawer. I'm not saying your
Yeah.
dog's not like sharp or anything like that. I think as a species as of an animal, they're kind of like, well, I'll do this and I'll do that. And I'll do stuff to make people happy. You happy? Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like that. You wouldn't want them to try and play chess or anything like that. You wouldn't want to try and
they're
teach them to play chess.
they're pretty silly.
Mm. Um, my folks at the moment have 7 dogs. So
Mm.
uh, 5 little ones and 2 big ones. We've a farm, and they love their dogs, mainly Jack Russells.
Mm. Oh, okay. Yeah, those are pretty dogs. They're also pretty hyper.
Oh yeah, it was a funny story. My dad bought a dog. He was at a fair and he bought a dog that obviously had been treated horribly.
Okay.
And he's great with dogs. And did this dog, he bought her, and he's like, "Oh, I got a new dog out of the jeep. I'll show it to you." And when we went back out, she had forgotten who he was, and she
Mhm.
started snarling and biting, and he
Oh.
couldn't get back into the jeep. So I had to go and rap at the back window, and he
Mhm.
had to get a coat and literally just throw it over her to actually get her into the house to calm her down.
Mhm. Oh, okay. Hmm.
The Jack Russell's the little dogs with a big personality.
Yeah. Very. Sometimes you get ones with attitude.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Boisterous to say the least. Um, but I had heard coming in that you were planning on doing like a day, a kind of regular Saturday stream, and again, would that be a hangout stream, or would you want to do a teamed kind of thing,
Yeah. I mean, it
or
would be. It would be casual. It's open to whomever wants to drop by. So right now it's just casual streams. I'm trying to keep the channel active since I know I've been just MIA for a while, and then eventually maybe within a month or so get back to doing the audio dramas and hopefully start posting regular reviews again.
I really liked when you got the public domain movies and just played them on your channel and just people could chat away about them in the chat. I think was Reefer Madness one of them you put on.
Yes, I did that one at 420, I think.
Yeah, that was fun. And you had I think you had a little discussion kind of before or after. I Jesus I've had like I said apologies. A discussion with someone and either fellow YouTubers about the flick before or after. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting fucking Alzheimer's
Uh,
or something.
I did that with House on Haunted Hill. There was Scarlet Street. I want to say the Red House, and I want to say there was a fourth movie, but I don't remember.
Was Night Watch one of the guests? I think Night Watch was one of the guests. That,
We
Night
did,
Watch.
yes, Night Watch. We did a live commentary. It was Carnival of Souls.
That's a great movie. That's really really underrated horror.
Hmm.
Is there any kind of classic horror or any kind of old school horror that you think need more attention? And you're surprised it hasn't gotten as much notoriety? Something maybe from the 50s or the 60s, because like the thing I love about your channel as well is that you just don't focus on stuff from like 80s slashers or 90s kind of like slashers. You look at stuff that's kind of like vintage. That's
Hmm.
also cool, and like, I appreciate that. Is there any horror movie that you think why the feck isn't more people checking this out?
Not that I can think of not right off the top of my head.
I put you
Uh,
on the spot. Sorry.
no, it's all right. It's just, yeah, I mean, I haven't really given that too much thought, so I just not really too much I can think of right now. Uh, yeah, because I know what was it? There was discussion earlier in the week, and people were even asking, who do you think the most underrated horror character is? And the only thing I can think of is the child from Seed of Chucky.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The Glenn and Glenda.
Yes, I couldn't remember the name.
Glenn and Glenda. It's going to be interesting because I think they're bringing that character into the new series. So
Oh,
that
okay.
should be cool. Whether in puppet form or human form, I do not know.
Uh, I want to say, who did they bring back other than Tiffany? I want to say they brought somebody else back for this series.
Oh, they brought back the kid who played did
Andy, I
Christ.
think.
They brought
Was
back
it?
Andy and they brought back who's the girl with the boy's name from the second one?
Uh, the
The
blonde
the
girl. I can't remember.
yeah. You know who I'm talking about though.
Yes.
Christ. Okay. Well, yeah, I know.
Do what?
I'm trying to think of her name. Feck it. Oh, I have a phone here. Hold on a minute, Carousel. Speaking of killer dolls and kind of underrated horror movies, there's a movie that I've been meaning to check out,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never been able to track it down because I can't remember the name. It's got Anthony Hopkins, and he plays a ventriloquist
Oh,
who.
magic.
Yes, thank you. Like, you don't know if he's doing the killing or the dolls convincing him to kill
Yeah,
people,
I
or
I think that one was very well done.
I gotta check it out because I like it always pops up on the like top 10 evil dolls list
Mm.
movies.
Yeah, I do like how they kept it in the dark until the very end.
Yeah, it keeps the audience guessing. Kyle, Kyle is the character's name. Cara.
Oh, okay.
Alex Vincent, Christina Elise. Oh, Beth Grant was in that. Oh yeah, she was the bitch of a teacher. Oh
Oh, the one that got sticked to death.
yeah, with the ruler. But honestly,
That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
how did he kill her with a ruler though? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean
Great.
they're so thin, I imagine it would snap.
Maybe it kind of snapped at an angle and he stabbed her with it. I don't know.
Unless
Eh,
he used the hard edge of it where it's a little more sturdy.
maybe. Turbo Kid. Why
Yeah,
is that movie?
I haven't
Oh,
heard
sorry.
of that one.
That sounds like a movie from the 90s, a kid's movie from the 90s.
It was out a few years ago, I want to say. It had kind of like when people would put all those neon stuff on their film covers.
Oh, Jesus! I have that movie. I apologize, Ricky. It's a throwback to kind of 80s synth sci-fi, bad 80s synth sci-fi. So, if I'm not mistaken, right, this kid in the post-apocalyptic future of 1997 or some shit like that, he uh, he finds a special weaponized glove that's actually just a kit bash version of the power glove, and he goes around on his BMX, blowing up bad guys, and he falls in love with a robot girl, and Michael Ironside is in it. Sorry, Ricky, you're dead right. That is a funny movie. That was kind of one of those 80s kind of revival, kind of trying to go back to Italian post-apocalyptic movies,
Hmm.
and Hobo with a Shotgun when they were trying to do kind of revival of all the old kind of
Oh, okay.
genres of the 80s. I apologize. Sorry, Ricky. I should know. I own that fucking movie. Jesus.
Yeah, I heard of it. Now that I remember, I haven't seen it. Yeah, very nostalgic.
Kara, do you ever suffer from the problem where you're like, now, I think you're like me in that you still kind of are a big advocate of physical media. Do you end up going into like a bookstore, a secondhand bookstore, or a charity shop, or a Goodwill and picking up, oh, this, I need this for my collection. You buy a DVD, then you go home and you're like, oh, fuck, I already own this.
I've only done that, I want to say once, and then there have been a couple of times where people have gifted me stuff, and I'm like, oh, thank you, and then I'm like, I don't want to say anything, but it's like I
Yeah.
already have this one.
I suppose it's handy to have a spare as well. Um, but I think at a point where you accumulate an absolute shit ton of DVDs, it's easy to happen.
Yeah, yeah, it's easy to forget, but then the downside is if somebody visits and they have sticky fingers, you also don't know what's missing because you have so much stuff.
Oh shit! Wait, people have actually pilfered stuff from you.
Uh, they have, or they just either, they're in a rotten mood and they'll just, maybe I'm not watching or something, they'll take something and throw it in the bin.
What? Okay, pardon my language, but what kind of arse candle does that?
I had a really bad roommate that would do stuff like that, and I mean, even just care packages that people would send me, they would take those things and just chuck them, and I'm like, that's not even yours. You shouldn't have touched that.
That's some single white female kind of crazy shit right there.
Uh,
Uh,
I mean, to a degree, they kind of mimicked me. Like they wouldn't dress like me, but they mimicked a lot of my behaviors, like pretending to like what I like or pretending to be interested in things, and it kind of was.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
You didn't have to like stab her with a stiletto or something in the fucking end, did you?
it never got that bad, but yeah, it was one of those situations. It's kind of like I have to get out of here. This is not good.
that's yes, that Slipknot fan, that is an underrated horror movie.
Yes,
That is
I've
wicked.
I think it finally got a release. I want to say a year or two ago.
Um, I did. I think Arrow. Done. I was either Arrow or Kino Labra. I can't pronounce the
Yeah,
last
Kino
fucking.
Lorber, I think, or
Yeah,
I struggle with it too.
yeah. Great movie. Ian McKellen's great. Proctor. Fucking. I'm not forgetting the actor's name. You angry German dude and Gabriel Byrne. Great movie. If you haven't seen it. And Scott Glenn turns up. It was very sci-fi in the end, actually.
Hmm. I've only seen it once. I don't remember it too well. I know I reviewed it back in my early days, but I'd have to go back and rewatch the movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's slow. I don't
Hmm.
know if modern audiences, because there's lots of movies I like that I could never show to like my cousins or my nieces and nephews who are in their late teens, early 20s, because I think this generation, Christ, I do sound old. This generation is so used to like having media, having watching like watching something on streaming or watching something on YouTube that's like 15 minutes long. It's like
Hmm. No, nowadays it has to be even shorter. They don't want to sit longer than maybe 5, 8 minutes.
like that's that's developing, and I'm not kind of talking down or talking
No,
shit
no,
about
but
people with ADHD.
yeah,
ADHD. It's
yeah,
like
it's like
Jesus.
media ADHD.
Yeah,
Like they want it quick, they want it fast, they want it now.
yeah. It's a bad precedent to set. Thank you, Slipknot fan. Jurgen Prochnow. He was in Das Boot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Kara. I don't know if I ever told you this, right? But if I ever bought a submarine, I would have to turn it into a strip club for one reason and one reason alone. I
Because
would
women
name
aren't
it.
allowed on subs.
No, I would have to call it Das Booty.
Oh,
That would be why that would be a brilliant name for a strip club on a submarine. Das Booty. What do you reckon?
it's I like the pun.
Yeah, there's a great ring to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that working, but it kind of sounds like those parody porns that people make.
Probably you could have girls like swinging instead of a stripper pole. It would be the periscope. I don't know. Hashtag cancel Martin.
Oh, oh gosh.
But yeah, I know. But no. Going back to what we were saying though, like it is disconcerting that there is like a generation of people who don't have the attention span to follow a movie a very kind of slow burning movie. Like there's so many
Yeah.
great movies out there that I recommend to people,
Oh,
and like
what was it?
I
The Offering, was it? The one with Barbara Hershey, and I forget who else was in it. It's they were renting a house for the summer, and they were supposed to look after some old elderly woman in the attic.
yeah, it's like I think people don't want slow burn movies anymore. They want just action and like the idea of horror now is just kind of violence or jump scares. It's not about the slow burn.
Yeah.
Like
I don't care about jump scares too much, especially if I see the setup coming, then I already know what's going to happen.
mm, like
The setups to me nowadays are very obvious.
it's kind of it that's another thing as well that the newer It movie I liked the first one. It had problems, but
Hmm.
like again, that movie like relied on sound. Every couple of minutes there was a jump scare.
Hmm.
And again, I'm like you. I'm okay with a jump scare if it's done kind of in a clever way. But it
Yeah.
was just accompanied by a loud noise or a
No.
loud kind of drum snare, and it's like no,
Yeah,
that
that's
that
like a that's cheating. You're trying
yeah
to force a response.
yeah you're artificially heightening the a tense moment. You know.
I liked House of the Devil. I thought that one had a good slow burn. I liked the build on that one. I liked the vintage 80s aspect of it, but
Yeah,
that
it was
one I did
shot very
enjoy.
much. It was one of those movies that was shot. It was a contemporary movie, but it was shot. I don't know what
Hmm.
kind of cameras or lenses they used, but it looked like
Oh,
something that
I
would
don't
come out in the
remember, but
80s.
yeah, and they would use like the manual dollies. They wouldn't do the zoom in,
Yeah.
so that they actually pushed the camera forward is how they got all those authentic, like back in the day shots, is
Tom
they
Noonan
actually
was brilliant in
used,
that.
yeah, they
Oh,
used
sorry,
old
sir.
school filming techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah, Old Country for Old Men is Old Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men was a good one too. Oh, I can't remember Mr. Sugar, whatever his how you pronounce his name.
Anton Chigurh, played by
Yeah,
Javier Bardem. I
yes,
love that.
he's really good. He played a psycho extremely well, but he's a good actor.
I like the bit where he goes into the gas station. And he's like, what's the most you ever lost in a coin toss? And literally, this is a scene that will tighten your sphincter because you're like, this poor shopkeeper does not know what's going on.
Oh, I love that scene with the coin.
Yeah, yeah. Don't put it in your pocket. You don't want to get mixed up with the other coins.
Hmm.
It's just, yeah, it's a great scene, and Javier Bardem is fantastic in it.
Yeah, the slow burn on that one is totally worth it because once it picks up, it escalates and it's just hold on.
I do know a lot of people were pissed off with the ending,
Mm.
um, because you're expecting a big showdown between Josh Brolin and Bardem's character, and then I think Brolin is just killed by some lackeys in a kind of dingy motel,
Hmm.
and you don't even see him getting killed. You just see the aftermath. I think a lot of people were pissed off by that.
See, I don't think you really need to see it, especially if they show you like the after effect. For example,
Yeah.
Dusk Till Dawn, where Seth, no, not Seth, Richie Gecko attacks the hostage, and you just see the blood in the background. You can't see what happened to her, but we know he has a history of being violent, and his brother's reaction, he's just horrified. You can only imagine how bad it
Did,
was. I think that was very effectively done.
didn't they do a kind of exorcist thing with that though, Cara? Because when Seth looks in the room door, there's like a flash of an image. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to go back and watch it. But I thought there's like a quick flash of an image to show. Um, well, again, it's like 2 seconds. It's like that scene where the priest is walking down the street and the image of the face, the Zuzu's face flashes, and I was like, okay, that's creepy.
Hmm. Yeah, see, I agree with Slipknot Fat. I like the off-screen deaths because it gives you room like for imagination because when you don't know something, you can always imagine something far worse than what you could have been shown.
Do you know a great example of that? Is and again, I think it's an underrated horror. The Exorcist 3, where the nurse, you just see the guy come up behind the nurse with the
Hmm.
surgical shears, and then it cuts, and I think it cuts to the body of a headless Virgin Mary
Hmm.
statue. Yeah, you've seen the Exorcist 3, Cara, right?
I have it's I know it's meant to be more true to the book, but it's the weirdest one out of all of them, I think.
You didn't enjoy it?
I have a love-hate relationship. Like there's things I like about it, there's things I don't like. What was it? William Friedkin directed it himself, and um, the whole thing about cinema is you're supposed to actually show things in order to describe them, but you have all of these characters. It's too much talky head. Like they're doing the description that you would see in a book rather than actually showing
Yeah,
the scene.
I I get that, but and I'm not discrediting the point you're making because there is a lot of the kind of talking head, kind of, I'm not going to say bullshit, but kind of filler moments. But
Yeah.
there is other good moments between, oh Christ, I forget George C. Scott, yeah, George C. Scott and his friend the priest, and there's a really fun moment. It's like moment of levity where he's telling the priest about his mother-in-law coming over to stay, and they got a fresh carp, and the carp is in the bath, and it won't stop swimming around, so he wants to just shoot the carp. And it's just like that didn't need to be in there, but it just shows the frustration of George C. Scott's character, and it's like that was a
Hmm.
good character moment. I like that when like you're like, okay, I get this guy. It's kind of bullshit what he's talking about, but I get him and I appreciate him.
Hmm. See, I haven't seen it in I know I watched it either sometime earlier this year or late last year, and the only thing that sticks with me is probably one of the most irrelevant scenes is Fabio as an angel in heaven.
Yeah, and Samuel Jackson is in there as well.
I forget who he was, but yeah, you're right.
He's in the background. The one scene that always takes me out of the movie is Xenomorph Granny. There's this bit in the kind of mental asylum with like an old lady crawling around in the ceiling. I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
what what why is this like woman scuttling around like an alien on the fucking sea? Okay, right, okay. But I still like it, and I think Brad Dorff's performance is great, and George C. Scott's performance is great. And you've got a murder mystery piggybacked onto an exorcism movie. The ending is kind of a bit, eh, but I do encourage you maybe to go back and rewatch it because there is some
Mm-hmm.
really good moments in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against it. I'm not opposed to watching it. So it's just been a stretch. Like I go for long gaps in between views with that one. I can't think of
Oh,
a oh, underappreciated movies. It's really obscure 80s. It's not even a tie-in. It's not even related to the original film, but Food of the Gods 2. I'm
I
not sure.
I haven't seen that. Is that the one set in the genetics laboratory?
I forget if it is, but I know that substance it had gotten into the water supply, and they hinted at it like you have this oversized little boy, and then we start seeing the oversized rats. And one of the funniest scenes to me is there's a there's a guy and girl. They're like out at one of those kissing points, And of course, there's always that scene someone has to step away. The guy says, "Oh, I need to take a leak really quick," and he's peeing in a bush, and one of these rats comes up and bites him in the butt.
Oh, Jesus.
It was a silly scene, but it was funny. You just see a bloody butt cheek, and he's just running.
The, the I kind of like B movies. I like when they're like, you have fun and you have a kind of a silly kind of time, and there's some cool kind of stuff to be had with that kind of stuff. I think more people need to kind of realize that B movies are there to be fun. Like you've actually reminded me of another underrated horror movie,
Hmm.
but it's a rat movie. Not
Oh,
many
okay.
people know about it.
The Black Death.
No, 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 no. This is from the 80s. This has Peter Weller in it. It's called Of Unknown Origin, and like
Mm,
all around the movie is cheap and silly and campy.
mhm,
Um, but Peter Weller is playing it pure straight, and he does a fantastic job. Essentially, he's an 80s yuppie who finds out that there's a rat in his modern kind of yuppie kind of special house that he was trying to renovate, and it's him at war with the rat. Like the rat, like he writes a check for the exterminator to kill the rat, and when he
hmm.
comes back, the exterminator's left an angry message going, "You tried to fucking cheat me, asshole!" And it turns out the rat had to check,
Oh,
and it just becomes a war of attrition, and he ends up turning into fucking Quint or Ahab or something, and he has this merger with a Japanese firm, and he's at a big dinner, and he's been thinking about the rat the entire day. And he
hmm.
turns around and goes, and everyone's eating this fine food, everyone's dressed kind of really posh and stuff, and everyone's talking about stuff, and goes, Daniel, what's in your mind? And he says, did you know that rats consume 3,842 kilos of grain every year? And they're like, oh, no, we didn't know that. Did you know
Mhm.
in certain parts of India they're venerated as gods, given milk and honey and pampered? And there's a close up on this woman, and she's like looking down, and you can see then it goes under the table and shows her toes
Oh,
curling, and
uh-huh.
it's a brilliant scene. Weller does a fantastic job, and
Oh, okay.
it's if another kind of underrated horror movie you got to check out.
No, I hadn't heard of that one.
What Weller's brilliant. He goes pure Ahab, and there's a kind of Quint character in it as well that's telling him how to kill rats. And he's like, when they dropped the bombs on Hiroshima, only thing that was left at the blast site were rats. And it's like, my God, you're just doing the Quint speech except with rats. It's like,
I would have figured roaches.
yeah, it's again, it's a corny movie, but Peter Weller plays it so straight, he elevates it.
Yeah, I mean, I love cheesy B films. I grew up watching a lot of them. Night of the Lepus is another one of my favorites. I don't think it's underrated. I believe it's one of the better known ones, but I love that one. And I don't know, especially this one scene where the rabbits, they're oversized. They've come in and they've invaded, and I think they're all overcrowded in this diner, and one of the rabbits just looks like he's smiling, and the camera kind of focuses on him, and he's got this big goofy grin.
It's been ages since I seen it, but there's like this bit where they attack a field, or maybe it's a truck with cabbages on it, and you can tell they're just little Brussels sprouts falling off the back of a model truck, and you're like, that's fucking adorable. That's just adorable. Um, and DeForest Kelly is brilliant in it as well. He was Dr. McCoy from Star Trek, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm. I like that they got Janet Leigh for it, but apparently the only reason she took the part was because it was close to home and she wanted to be able to spend time with her family.
Yeah, again, it's like you see these kind of cheesy movies, and you find out like Michael Caine wanted to get a new house or an extension or something. That's why he did Jaws 4. It's like it doesn't matter if it was good or not. I wanted something, and
Yeah. Um, I had discovered that recently. I was on the Spoiler Room podcast, and I was making fun of Eric Roberts because we were talking about bigger people that are now in bad films, and you can tell it's a stinker if so and so's in it. And I had brought up Eric Roberts, and then I didn't know this. I was told that the only reason he takes those bad parts is because he gets a free vacation out of it.
oh yeah, like just there there's actors that are like fuck it, I'll do whatever it is, but it's shot in Hawaii. Yeah, you bet your ass I'll be there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Like, say he only films for a day and he stays for a week.
I was trying to think of there's a director, a horror director that does porn disguised as horror. I'm trying to think of the fucking director's name. Hold on, look it up. He done a movie called Bigfoot versus DB Cooper, and
Hmm.
Robards narrates the movie, and Linnea Quigley's hand and voice appears for
Oh,
for like 2 minutes, and they're at the top of the DVD. Man.
yes. Um, I can't remember who else they do that with, but like a very outdated example would be the Trick or Treat. They have Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne credited on the film cover, and they just had cameos.
Yeah, it's like, god damn. He's not in this at all. David Dakota. So David Dakota's movies, right? They're disguised as kind of horror movies, but they usually star 6 or 7 buff dudes who halfway through the movie have no shirts on and they're just running around the place. So David Dakota does kind of like gay fetish movies disguised as horrors, and he has done quite the back catalogue of them.
Huh.
It's like I do. Voodoo Academy, Prison of the Dead, Brotherhood, 2 Young Warlocks, Wolves of Wall Street, Leeches, Speed Demon, Sisterhood, Beastly Boys, Grizzly Rage, Brotherhood 5, The Alumni, Brotherhood 6, The Initiation. Oh my god, oh, Jesus Christ.
I want to say Grizzly Rage sounds familiar.
He's done the Puppet Master movies as well. He worked for oh Christ, what was the name? Moon. What was the name of the company that released those
Full
movies?
Moon?
That's it. He got his start off there, and then he just started doing really kind of just dudes with their shirts off movies. Ron Roommate. God damn it. Eric Roberts is in that. Eric
Hmm.
Roberts and Tracy Nelson.
Yeah, I love the subspecies movies. I would stop at the third one. They got really, in my opinion, they got really bad after that.
Um, like the full moon movies are they're great fun, and they're clever for what they do, but like they churn them out at such a rate that you're like, okay, you're obviously gonna kind of start hitting the law of diminishing returns. It's like, why not focus on making good stuff? But then again, I suppose like um who is it that does the blockbuster movies? The Asylum. Like, suppose
Oh,
it's a quick way to make a buck. And I'm not comparing Full Moon to The Asylum, but
no, but
but like
I loved 80s and 90s Full Moon, and then anything beyond that, they've just gotten worse, in my opinion.
did they do the Transfers movies actually?
Yes, they did.
I love Transfers too.
Those are
God damn
fun.
it, McNulty! Next time someone gives you an exploding ham, I'm gonna pass the mustard. It's like Jesus, really
Yeah,
wonderful.
The fourth one I didn't care for much. I mean, like Ragu was a pretty cool character. I always liked him. I mispronounced that on purpose.
Yeah, no, the thing is, it's like you're not too far off the character's name, but whenever
Yeah.
I heard the character's name, I'm like, I want some pasta.
And there was a spin-off, I think, Vampire Journals or something, which was before the Vampire Diaries, years before.
Vampire Diaries was just they were trying to steal their thunder, the subspecies movies thunder.
Yeah, I mean, it's been recommended to me, like check it out, and I'm like, nah, that's too girly. Like I like it with a little bit more horror. Like I like the show Bitten, and I can justify it because there's a lot of action scenes in it, and I don't feel bad or embarrassed admitting that I watch that. That I still know it's a guilty pleasure.
The What would be your favorite all-time favorite vampire flick?
Horror film.
Yeah,
I usually go with cat people. I used to love Pet Cemetery, and then as I got older, this film is just too depressing. If I was in a good mood, I'm not anymore.
oh,
But
I
I
think
loved how creepy it was. The idea was very original at the time.
my only issue with Pet Cemetery is the baby being able to dispatch people. It's like, okay, he's a zombie, I get it, but he's still a toddler. You could just pick him up by the ear and throw him out a window or something. I don't know. That's
Something, yeah.
that's why I kind of I'm going to be shot. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be fucking killed. I won't say it. I have a dark secret about the remake.
I
I,
haven't
I
seen the remake yet.
they switched things up. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
tell
I
you what
mean,
to change. But
I've
I
been
like
told
that change.
it's sorry.
No. What?
No, I was gonna say I've been told it's worth a watch, and then there are other people that they just say just skip it.
I will tell you the trailer is total false advertising because when the trailer came out, they were trying to make it like a folk horror and stuff. They're like, this is no relevance or bearing to the movie whatsoever.
Mm.
Like, have you favorite folk horror actually?
Um, I wouldn't say it's a favorite, but one that I really like is Jug Face. I want to say it's from the 2010s or so, like 2015, 16, where I really liked the premise of that also. They're in a rural country area, and there's this, they kind of have to do, I forget if it's a daily or weekly sacrifice, but the way the person is chosen is it's a girl. She's kind of like an oracle. She goes into this trance and she makes a clay face, and
Uh,
um, one day it's herself, and she doesn't want to admit, so she lies, and the wrong person gets sacrificed, so she has to suffer consequences. But we later find out that okay, well, she didn't, obviously, who doesn't want to die, but she's also pregnant due to incest, and her father didn't know that. They were trying to marry her off,
okay.
and obviously they do the test, and she came back as false. So as punishment, she's beaten. And I love this line, like it's so messed up, but it's very old school. Is the father says to her, because she's beaten into a miscarriage, the father says, well, if I knew you were pregnant, I wouldn't have beat you as hard.
He still would have beaten her, but he wouldn't have. Oh Jesus, fuck!
Yeah.
That is messed up.
Yeah, but well, they lost the dowry money for her.
I I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know
it's
what?
it's very drama, but I think it's good.
Is it kind of depressing? If you don't mind me asking, this is
I
weird. Is it
I
kind of
wouldn't say
depressing?
it's depressing, but it kind of has that curiosity factor, like, why is it determined that people have to be sacrificed, and then why is it this particular trance way in which they're divined, which is I found that very curious. And I don't know, to some degree it kind of reminded me of The Village, except there was no fake, actual highway on the other side of the forest.
Okay. I no, I'll definitely check it out. I think Jen would like that because Jen likes
uh,
very kind of grim kind of
yeah.
movies.
I liked Witch Hunter General. I thought that one was really good.
That's a cool movie. There's a totally off the wall, right? Um, uh, folk horror that more people need to check out, and it's called The Field in England. It's a period folk horror.
I've seen
It,
that.
that is an awesome movie. I adore that movie. What did you think of it, or did you think it was pretentious dribble?
um it was very trippy. Like, I like how they kind of just didn't really tell you straight out what was going on. And
Was it magic, or were they just off their tits on shrooms? You
yeah.
decide.
I've never heard of this one. A Russian movie called Vi. I probably mispronounced that.
I shall look it up on the interwebs.
I want to say Field in England. Wasn't there an English comedic actor that was in
Oh,
that one?
Rish. There's a couple. Rish Smith, who you might know from League of Gentlemen. He's also in the kind of weird horror anthology Inside Nine. He's in it.
Hmm.
You also have Mike Smiley, who you may also know from Utopia, or well, I don't know if he's well known on your side of the pond. He's in a couple of things over here. He's an Irish actor from Northern Ireland, and there's a couple other really great actors in it. And yeah, Reese Shearsmith from League of Gentlemen and Spaced, and he's in a bunch of other English comedies. There's in it that scene where he comes out of the tent on the rope. Just
Yeah.
you're like, what happened here?
So Slipknot fan says the guy also filmed Kill List, the
Yeah,
Field of England. I've
yeah.
only seen the ending half of it, so I know I ruined it for myself, but I've always wanted to see that one.
It's kind of like these guys are inducted into a cult by being hired to kill off members of said cult.
Hmm.
And as the director says, it's about two bad men. One dies, the other wins a hat. That's how the director describes the movie.
Um, it reminds me, I don't know if you'd consider it folk horror, but Borgman. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of that one.
No, what's it about?
I forget what language it's in, but it I call them Fey people because I don't know what else to call them, but they're these people. They kind of have like these coffin type beds that they keep in the ground, and in the beginning they're all fleeing, like they're going around and they're knocking on everybody's door so that they could leave, but all of these people are fully dressed. They make their way out to the highway, and this one particular character, he goes out to a woman's house in particular, and supposedly he knows her. And the woman keeps saying, I don't know who this is. The husband's getting angry, like, were you stepping out on me? Who's this guy? So he gets the snot beaten out of him, and I guess the woman takes pity on him. So she hides him in the guest house in the back, and he's nursing back to health. And she tells him, okay, well, you have to leave. You were only supposed to stay for the night. You have to get out of here. And then all of a sudden he's sneaking into her house and interacting with her kids, like. And then from there it just kind of gets weird. Like, I don't know what he did exactly to the kids, but they came back. They were supposed to go to school, and they came back and they were just acting funny.
I think I've
um
seen a trailer for this one ages back.
mhm. Yeah, I don't know how old it is, but
It's
I
it's
know that
not
even
it's
like
it's
the
not like super old, but it's definitely like mid 2010s.
somewhere
I'd
around
say.
there. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
I,
just I
I
don't know what to call these people. It's just since they came out of the forest, I call them Fey people. But it's understood they're not human, but they're not monsters either. They're
Future,
something
yeah.
else entirely.
It's probably something that plays into the country's folklore. Again, it's like I
Possibly.
love seeing kind of folk horror from other countries, and I definitely think Ireland
Hmm.
needs more folk horror. There was a brilliant one that came out recently, Cara.
Hmm.
I will sing its praises till the fucking cows come home. It's called "You Are Not My Mother."
I no, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay, so um, it starts off, and this teenage girl is worried about her mom because her mom is going through um, the post-menopausal depression,
Mm.
and she drops her. She nearly ends up running into a horse, and she just stops the car and starts screaming. And the daughter's worried about her, and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." Drops the child to school, and then after school, her mother doesn't pick her up, and her granny picks her up, and it's like, "We haven't heard from your mother." Next day, the cops arrive and goes, "Oh, your mother's car's been found abandoned
Hmm.
in the middle of the road." And they're like, "Oh shit!" They're all thinking the worst. A week comes by, the mother turns up, and she's in incredibly high spirits. She's laughing, she's dancing, and then she starts doing other things. Like she starts kind of having to hide in dark spaces, or following her daughter, or trying to get her daughter to try different drugs and stuff like that. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And the grandmother knows what's going on. And I'm not gonna ruin it, but it's one of those movies. It's like, is this
Like a hereditary
supernatural?
thing.
Sorry, Karen.
Now, is it like a hereditary thing, like like how
It
the
is and
family
it
curse
isn't.
type thing?
It is and it isn't. You don't know if it's something to do with mental health, or if it's something to do with a big part of Irish folklore.
Mm.
And I I I will sing this movie's praises till the cows come home. Female director, I forget her name. I gotta check it out. But it's again, it's not only a commentary on Irish folklore, but it's also a commentary on like depression
Mm.
in mothers, in kind of like um, menopausal kind of women. It's an interesting exploration of it. I don't know. I gotta find out the director's name.
Yeah, I mean, those are topics that don't really get touched on. Like Babadook kind of does that too.
Yeah, and as you said, Hereditary. It's an interesting thing. The director is Kate Dolan.
Mm.
It came out in 2001. It's currently trending at 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, you should definitely check it out.
So Slipknot fan wants us to watch V and potentially do a review on it.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay, okay. I'll definitely give it a look.
Hmm.
Although it's Kara's channel, so
Yeah, I
it,
mean,
it
I've never heard of it. Wow. But 1967. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely look it up.
do you think that they're like is it horns? No, no, that's the one with Daniel Radcliffe. What's the one with the Wendigo that came out recently? It was really good.
Antlers?
Antlers, yes. Do you think there's other kind of folklore stories that could come out of the United States, be it Mesoamerican, be it Native American, be it kind of sugar. I'm not forgetting, kind of like
Like,
what?
yeah, because I mean, I grew up in a border town, so there's a lot of heavy Hispanic influence, but the first two that come to mind are the Llorona, which she's basically kind of like a woman in white or a
Yeah.
woman in black. I forget what the term is. Um, and then the other one, which I heard recently, they're going to make a film about it, is the Lechusa. It's kind of like a harpy type creature. It's a shapeshifter. It's basically a witch that can transform herself into an owl, and it's usually a barn owl.
Ooh. I'll definitely check that out. Like, I think there is such untapped potential in kind of folklore and folk stories.
Hmm.
Like people are like saying, "Oh, we're doing so many slashers because there's no new stories to tell." Bullshit. There's so many stuff that you can
Yeah,
tell and do. You know. Hey,
yeah,
DMC.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of potential. I mean, even stories that I've never even heard of, and it's a good. I think it's a good opportunity for even just people to maybe appreciate other cultures. Like, oh, I never knew such and such about this, or I never knew this was a belief. And I don't know, you might take an interest, research it, and discover it's something you like.
Yeah, just broaden your horizons.
There you go. That's what I was trying to say.
Like, hey, I could watch the same kind of slasher movie for the 563rd time, which there's no problem with. Or you could maybe, instead of eating chicken every day, maybe have an hour beef burger or something like that. I'm desperate with analogies.
Yeah, like it reminds me of that meme that was going around where it has the snooty guy with the book on the top half, and it says something about, "Are you one of those artsy, highbrow horror fans?" And then they've got Kurt Russell at the bottom lighting I think, a cigarette with a blowtorch, and he's just saying, "F it, let's watch Sleepaway Camp 3 again." And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm both actually. I mean, I don't mind the cheap, trashy, bad stuff, but I do like watching the the what do you call it, art house.
yeah, like A24 horrors are good, but sometimes you do get like there's some really good ones, like obviously The Witch and the Lighthouse and stuff, and then you get others that are just like, my God, this is potential, not potential, pretentious dribble, you know?
Yeah. I mean, people accuse the Field in England of being one of that, just very pompous.
I don't think so. Well, I can understand why people think that. Again, I don't want to pass judgment on people for what they like. My rule of thumb is like what you like and fuck everyone else,
Watched Unhuman yesterday. I don't think twist on the zombie genre, not a bad movie. Not an award winner. No,
Check
I
it out.
haven't heard of that one.
Slipknot fan, I don't think Richard Stanley's going to be doing a remake of anything recently. It turned out that the guy was caught. Someone came out and said he was physically abusive to them in
Mm,
a relationship. A woman came out and said that, so which sucks because I really like Richard Stanley. I love the documentary about the fucking disaster that was the island of Doctor Moreau.
yeah, Lost Souls, I think it was.
Yeah, for poor Firuza Balk thought she could just drive across Australia. Like, no.
Yeah, I liked her in that one. It was very minimal, the cat effect, but the
Yeah,
70s one was also really good too.
was Michael York in that one? I was gonna say Tom York. No, that's the guy from Radiohead. We can fix your dodgy eye, Mr. York.
Oh
We'll give you
gosh.
one of an eagle. What?
Broaden your horizons and watch Black Sheep. I like
Mm,
that one.
that one was fun. I was like, at the minute the Were Sheep came on, I was like, right, this movie is.
I liked the cliche of the earthy chick where she's all intelligent, but all she speaks is babble.
Mm, yeah, I think do you think? Do you think there has? Oh, okay. I did not know that. I thought it was more. I thought it was more serious. I thought it was actually more of a genuine thing. But geez, that would actually be good if it turned out he wasn't. Yeah, that's the thing though. You got to be very careful because uh, you know, like in one way it's good that guys are called out for their shit, but in another way it's you gotta be sure that something is what it is before you kind of get behind it or denounce it or whatever.
Yeah, but then that's where you run across the whole problem of victim shaming, where the person doesn't feel that they're believed, and everybody wants them, to just be
Oh,
quiet and go away.
oh yeah. But the and sorry, I'm putting in but, and that makes me sound like a prick. Apologies, Karen. What my worry would be though is like with the Amber Heard thing, like that if it delegitimizes. You got to be
Hmm.
very kind of fine tooth comb, and I know that can be upsetting, but if and I like 99.9% of cases I'd say are genuine, but
Yeah.
you'll always get that one. There's always the danger of that one, and then it will totally delegitimize other kind of cases. Like apparently the Christ, there was a woman's rights advocacy. They were saying that the amount of calls and reports of abuse dropped because of that trial and because of the results of that trial. Because like women
Hmm.
felt, well, now I'm not going to be now I'm not going to be listened to. Hey, gorgeous.
But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Amber Heard thing set a lot of people back. I mean, just the way things are viewed or handled.
Oh yeah, she set the Me Too movement back. I'd say decades because of that
Yeah.
film.
Well, even when what's her name, Rose McGowan and Asia Argento, they were both advocates for that, and then Asia was discovered to have been with a minor, so then that just went down the drain also.
Yeah, Jesus, and I really like that actress, but Jesus Christ, come on.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
but that's the bad thing. I mean, especially people who fall under the Me Too character and have category, sorry, and they haven't come forward yet. Like um, Rachel Wood, or whatever her name is. I mean,
Rachel
she
Evan
did a
Wood,
yes, she did a lot to help, and I mean, she set up programs, she made changes to the law and the way things are viewed, and then along comes Amber Heard, and I mean, she took a dump on more than just that bed.
yeah, she totally fucked up that movement as a result,
Yeah.
and and people are going to second guess celebrities and stuff. I was watching the documentary about Bill Cosby, and
Mm,
oh my good Christ, myself and Jen watched it, and like he was joking, he was what's the term, hiding in plain sight. Some of his
yeah.
sketches were about a thing called Spanish Fly, which is
Oh
kind
yeah.
of like a drug, a very strong
Hmm.
kind of drug, and it's like, yeah, Spanish Fly, and it's like, you motherfucker, you were literally telling everyone what you were doing and getting money for it. It's like, what a
Yeah,
fucking monster.
it's disgusting. Like, I know Spanish fly people describe it as an aphrodisiac, but then yeah, there are certain things that have a roofie effect.
Okay. Jesus.
I
Here,
mean,
I
there's nothing worse than waking up. I mean, especially if you're in that situation, I would imagine waking up and then just realizing there's either someone on top of you using you and you didn't know.
like it's what the hell. and just the people can turn around and go, oh well, you drank too much, or you were kind of being
It
flirty. That's no
it's
excuse.
it still
That's
doesn't
no
justify it.
no.
Okay, silence does not always give consent. I know shady people say that, but if somebody's unconscious, no, that's not consent.
That's sexual assault,
Well,
one
it's
way or the
rape.
other. Yeah.
Mm, I've only seen parts of that one. I've never seen it all the way through. But yeah, there's a lot more disgusting stuff going on than we realize. Even just people that are psychologically damaged, mentally ill, and they're taking advantage of other people, just normal everyday people. They don't have to be celebrities to do or get away with these heinous things.
Yeah, the sad fact of the matter is we only hear about this because it is people of notoriety doing it or having it done to them. Like, um, there was a case in Ireland where a psychiatric clinic, a bunch of girls, some of whom had schizophrenia, they,
Hmm.
they, they, they turned up pregnant.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What is it? The same with those private schools or the nunneries.
Yeah, it's like, what the, like, bullshit.
Like, I know there's even a line. I don't know if you've ever seen the Harmony Korine's Gummo, but there's even a line in there where a guy says that, yeah, he likes taking advantage of mentally ill women, especially if they're in a wheelchair.
Christ almighty. Will will we switch gears before
Yeah,
people
it's
start
getting
like slitting
disgusting.
their? Let's switch gears before people start slitting their wrists in the chat.
Well, not just that, but
Kumbaya,
I didn't think about it. We could be triggering somebody, and it just didn't dawn on me.
apologies. That was my fault. That wasn't Kara's fault. That was me. I brought the. God damn it, Kara! I always bring down the vibe,
No,
which is weird.
I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not trying to put blame. I could have changed the subject, and I just went along with you. If anybody's going to be blamed, it's both of us.
Gumbo's great soundtrack. Love the stoner rock.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those experimental films. I don't know if you're familiar with Harmony Korine. He also did Julian Donkey Boy,
Did he do
Trash
kids?
Humpers. That was Larry Clark, but he wrote the script.
Yeah. If you liked kids, there's a great movie out called Mid '90s, directed by Jonah Hill. It's really cool. It's about the kind of teen skateboarding culture, specifically in Los Angeles in 1992. And this little kid is bullied and he's trouble making friends, and he ends up falling in with a bunch of outcasts who are all skaters. And it is edgy, but it isn't like super kind of dark, and there is a kind of very um optimistic ending to it. Really kind of heartwarming, optimistic ending to it. Grabbers is brilliant. DMC.
That
Love
one's
Grabbers.
fun. I like the whole thing. You have to be drunk in order to survive it. So you don't have to slather mud on you. You just have to get wasted.
Hey, we'll have a lock in. Sure. What is it? What are we celebrating? Me coming to the island. Sure, you're leaving tomorrow. Fuck it. It's one more night. We we could drown it in whiskey. Nah, why not? It's a waste of good whiskey. I love that
What was
movie.
it? Shaun of the Dead, I think, had a similar scene like that where they're all holed up in the bar.
Oh yeah, and Queen comes on. Quick, kill
Oh,
the
I loved
Queen.
that part.
Don't stop me now.
And I forget, are they breaking furniture to beat the zombie with,
Yeah,
or it's a
yeah, yeah. They're
baseball
using
bat?
pool cues. They're using pool cues and share legs to beat like the zombie bar owner.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I totally misread Jen's comment. If we were talking, what is it? Harmony, Kareem, Ken Park. I've seen that one. I hated that one. Will always be my favorite. Sorry, I didn't finish reading the comment before I gave my opinion.
What did you think she said?
I misread it. Instead of harmony, I read horny.
Well, in fairness, it is Jane.
Well,
Babe, I'm
I'm
sorry.
not trying to make assumptions.
I'm
It
sorry,
was just a
babe.
first glance, just reading and passing, like just looking through the comments, and I'm like, what? I'm glad I said it correctly when I read it, though. But yes, I did watch Ken Park. I try to watch um, most of what he puts out. I actually wound up I gave Ken Park away in a DVD trade. I got Portrait of a Serial Killer in exchange for that one.
Have you a multi-region player?
I do, yes.
Okay. Is there any movies you're missing? Any kind of horror movies you've been trying to get your hands on now? Because I've doubles. I've rakes of fucking doubles. Actually, I must do a video showing my doubles, and anyone who wants put dibs on them.
Poor Jen, that's fair. I'm like, no, it's not. I wasn't picking on you.
I was. That's my job, babe. Yes,
Are
I
you with
am.
Father Ted?
Yeah, yeah. That's a brilliant show. It's such a good show, and it's sad because the creator came out as a massive transphobe, which sucks.
Hmm. No, I haven't seen that one.
There's this bit where the priests are mistaken for neo Nazis. There's like he insulted a group of Chinese immigrants, and the
Mm,
Chinese immigrants are coming to the parochial house to accept his apology, and Mrs. Doyle has kind of the housekeeper has fucked up her eyes, so she leaves a perfectly square piece of dirt on the window, and Ted goes to the window, and he looks like he's a Hitler tash, and like he's beckoning them over, but it looks like he's doing Hitler's hand gestures. And the Chinese guys are like, look at this bloody fascist. And he's just there at the window doing these hand gestures. And then he rings them up. He's talking to him. And he's like, okay, we'll have a meeting. We'll have a meeting and we'll discuss it and have a meeting at the pub. And the guys are like he's trying to apologize and they're accepting his apology. He's like, look, you have to come to an understanding, because I'm a priest. I'm not a fascist. Fascists dress in black and tell people what to do. Priests are more drink, yeah.
oh,
I love my brick. Yeah, one of the priests has a pet brick.
mm,
I'm not doing it justice, Karen. I apologize, but it was filmed in my county. It was actually filmed in my county, and there was one episode that was done in the department store that I worked in, and it's great. Yeah, I love that. The Chinese are a great bunch of lads.
duh.
That, 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 that,
Yeah, I
that,
do
that.
have a multi-region. You're going to laugh at me. The main reason I got it was because I, I can't even say it without laughing. I wanted to watch the Madonna biopic from the 90s, and the VHS was a ridiculous price, and it was never released on DVD in the US, so I bought a UK version. So I got the player because I wanted to watch the movie that badly.
Who played Madonna in that?
Uh, I don't think she really stuck around. I'd have to Google it.
No, you're
But I
okay.
know
I'll just.
it was a TV movie, but I know they're making another Madonna movie. There's been talk about who they're considering casting. Uh, let's see. I'm trying to grab my IMDb.
Here, I'm sending me here. I keep on doing that to you. Like, oh.
No, I mean it's my fault I brought it up, and I don't know who's in it. I want to say she didn't stick around that long, but I remember um that show Entertainment Tonight, they were even showing people that were auditioning and people mimicking the that intro dance from Lucky Star and all this other stuff. Why I remember obscure stuff, I don't know, but if you ask me what happened 5 minutes ago, not a clue.
There's a
There it
new
is.
one
It's
coming out.
called Innocence Lost, I think.
Okay.
Yes, 94 it's from. Director Bradford May, based off of the book Madonna Unauthorized. I'm probably going to slaughter the name. Terumi Matthews? Wendy Malik? Terumi Matthews was Madonna. I don't know
Okay.
how to do a screen share, otherwise I would do that.
No, no, you're okay. You're okay. Uh, did she look the part?
Not really. Not too much. Like the
Um,
face shape was wrong. She had the eyebrows. The hair for me was off. But I tend to be kind of picky when it comes to biopics. Like even Val Kilmer in the Doors movie, like people are like, yeah, he looks like him. I'm like, no, his nose is all wrong. It's too big.
that movie fucked him up. That movie,
I,
he thought he was Jim Morrison after doing that movie, didn't he?
he developed some complex. Okay, so this girl's also known for the Sticky Fingers of Time, the Madonna movie, Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which yeah, I remember
So
that was a TV show about little boy Indiana Jones.
yeah. I did. Neil Patrick Harris from the Boondocks Eight played
She
Teen
she
in the
played
Eva.
Rita on The Sopranos.
Oh,
Mm,
oh,
Other than I
um,
don't really see anything too big.
she probably just kind of stuck around TV and stuff. Cara, I'm going to bounce off because I want to talk to Jen before she goes on to Sean's stream. But thanks a million for having us on, and it's always good crack. And I'm always about if you ever want to hang out. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
see you
no
later,
worries.
Cara.
All right. Yeah, I'll probably jump off in a little while too, but thanks for stopping by.
Always a pleasure. See you later. Bye.
All right. The Elvis one, are you talking about the one with Kurt Russell, I think it was? If it is, I remember really liking that one as a little kid. I haven't seen the new Elvis one, but I think the guy they got to play the part also looks a bit off. Um, I know I went through the comparisons, like the actors against the who the actual person was. I think Tom Hanks was the only one that looked pretty close to the actual person he was playing, in my opinion. I have seen Innocent Blood. I liked that one. I think it was from the same guy that did American Werewolf in London. I know it was like one of those horror comedy type things. I thought it was really cool. Like how they become really savage, their eyes glow red, and they just kind of bite into people and rip their neck and all this other stuff when they're going to feed off of someone. It has some silly moments, but I thought it was pretty good. Okay, yeah, the recent one seemed a lot like Elvis to me. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinions. I'm just going off of the trailers. I haven't watched the movie yet, so I've been wanting to watch it. I waited so long to go to theater to watch it, so I'm probably just going to wait until it's out on video. I think usually within, what is it, 3 to 4 months, movies get put on release anyway. I remember back when I was a kid, it was at least you had to wait a year before something was released onto VHS. So it's definitely gotten a lot quicker now. Boondock Saints is a cool movie. Yeah, I didn't like the sequel. Um, I wasn't too crazy about the inclusion of the female character either, even though they're letting a woman into an all boys club. I wasn't impressed. The original Boondock I love. I prefer the edited for TV version because it has additional scenes, but the DVD one itself, I don't know, I just like the extra scenes. For me, it adds a little something, so I got spoiled because I watched the TV version first. And I was so excited and hyped about the movie that I ran out and got the DVD. I made an event of it. I got a bottle of wine. I bought a cheesecake. I was going to rewatch it, and I was expecting those extra scenes to be in there, and I was just like, oh man. So it kind of ruined my fun evening end, but I still like that movie a lot. I have weird little anecdotes and side stories for just about anything. Scarecrows. I don't think I'm familiar with that one. The one I'm most familiar with is Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. That one was a TV movie. I I half want to say it sounds familiar. I don't remember if the film poster had a blue background. I'm pulling it up. Yes, it had a blue background. The guy had kind of, yeah, I see it now. No, I haven't seen this one. I've seen it around at the video store. I don't know why I never picked it up, but yeah, I was curious about it. Um, I don't know if this thing is auto playing the trailer or if it's advertising a different movie. But no, I haven't seen that one. Scarecrow movies I don't see too much of. Even Tales from the Crypt, they had a Scarecrow episode. I forget what season it was. I don't want to guess, but yeah, there was an issue with the girl that wanted to escape this farm. Um, yeah, I think it's auto playing the trailer for Scarecrows. I'm just checking that out on mute. That way the sound doesn't come in. But no, I've never seen this one at all. But yes, I'm familiar with the box art. But yeah, I want to say it was a trend in the 70s, 80s Scarecrow movies. I can't think of too much else. There were a few direct-to-video movies also in the 90s that touched on the Scarecrow theme. I'm not sure what the deal with the plane and these military people looking people is, but are. But yeah, once again, I haven't seen that one. I see movies are being released after 45 days now. Okay, so it's probably already out or it's in the dollar theater, so close to being released. So yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have gone to Alamo Draft House and, you know, ordered a $5 milkshake and gotten my burger and watched the movie. Yes, they actually do have one. I didn't make that up. Um, and I just wanted to make an event, like just have a fun night out. And I never got around to it. I've been busy doing other stuff, just, attack of real life, as they call it. I heard Scarecrows is pretty good, possibly the definitive Scarecrow movie. Um, it looks like something I would watch. It kind of looks like it's fun, hokey. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Eager to see it. I got lost in the conversation. I'm not sure if we're still talking about crows or Elvis. Sorry. But yeah, the Elvis one I was very keen on, especially because I love Baz Luhrmann films. Um, yeah, I thought that one, especially because I like Elvis. Um, growing up as a little kid, he still was played on the radio, and then again, I grew up in a rural area, so everybody was behind on the time. So very likely people were just into the 50s when I was growing up. I know around the time I left town, people were just discovering the 80s, so definitely a delay. There's a movie called Scary Stories. Yes, have a copy of that was gifted to me. I still haven't seen it. It has a scarecrow segment that looks amazing. Um, I had read those books back when I was younger. I remember everybody in elementary school, somebody some week always had it checked out. So it was always just this competition to try and get a hold of it. But yeah, I like those. I don't know if you would call them folk stories, ghost stories, but the urban legends. They do seem to be based on something. I loved the artwork for those also. They were always a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of what else I've seen recently. I watched recently Mom and Dad, um, where it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Flesh Eating Mothers, or the book or the movie Cell, where I forget if it's some kind of a signal or pulse that goes out where parents want to murder their own children. Um, they don't go around killing strangers' kids. It's only their kid, and they're ultra violent. There's even a scene where a woman gives birth, and then she's trying to, she's holding her child for the first time, and she's trying to crush it. It's one of those movies. I'd say it starts off at a medium pace, and it runs. It goes very fast. It starts crazy, and it just becomes more insane as you watch it. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend checking that one out. It's pretty crazy. Children of the Corn, I have not seen that in a very long time. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I read the short story, which is very, very different. I like how the story was expanded and developed for the films. Everything that followed was pretty bad. Um, yeah, I mean, I just really don't remember too much of it. I wish I did. Especially, I know Linda Hamilton was in it. I don't recall if that was before or after. I want to say it was before Terminator. Sounds like the crazies. There's not really a chemical spill or anything, but yeah, I can kind of see that comparison. Out of curiosity, did you prefer the original Crazies or did you like the remake? To me, it feels more like it should have been a Cronenberg film. It feels like a bio horror. I'm actually stopping over again to check the years on Children of the Corn. It's one of the reasons I wish I was better at screen sharing, because I tend to walk off. So I just think it'd be easier if people can see what I'm seeing. So Children of the Corn was 1984. Terminator was 84, so released in the same year. Who knows when they were filmed? I believe usually movies were filmed a year before and then released later on video or in theater. She might have been. I'm not too sure on the time frame. I'd have to go as far as the release date just to view the month, but I guess it's really not too big a deal to be that nitpicky. Probably being a little bit silly taking it that far if I were to go and look up the actual exact months. See, I saw the original. I only saw I'm horrible at name pronunciation, but the Timothy version. I haven't I haven't watched them in a while. I remember liking the original better. Oh, I never saw the original. Sorry, I misread that. Um, yeah, I remember liking the original a lot better. I mean, I think both were good. There were a lot of knockoff similar films that were out at the time. I wish I could remember right now, but I know there was one that was direct to video. It was pretty good. The story was decent, and it was one of those mockbuster films that mirrored it fairly well. But yeah, other than that, let's see. I don't have too much going on. I'm probably going to be absent from the weekend streams in a couple of weeks. I have some stuff I need to take care of, but I do want to continue with the weekend streams. Hopefully you guys enjoy them or have fun with them. I just like that it's a way to interact with you guys and talk about different things. I'm usually pretty bad about having topics or not having topics. So, I mean, I don't know if there's anything you guys in particular would want to talk about. Yeah, I can't really think of anything. The underrated horror characters, which we went over earlier, was the only thing I could think of. Do you know if there's a horror encyclopedia? Not that I'm familiar with. I know there's one on vampire films. I think it's called the Vampire Bible. They put out a new edition of that one once every few years. Horror encyclopedia, I'm not too familiar. Uh, Probably one of the closest ones was one of the first docu-books that was put out, which was written by Stephen King, Dance Macabre. I believe he goes from the 1950s up to the 1980s. He tries to discuss films and their plots and background information chronologically. Mm, yeah, an actual horror encyclopedia, I'm not really finding. There's one, the Encyclopedia of Horror Movies. I believe that was by Paul Wellerman and Tom Milne. I'm just doing a quick search right now. A companion to the horror film. So it looks like there's a few options out there. I may even decide to check some of those out. I never thought to check if there was one. Um, let's see, categorizing all horror movie releases through the decades. I know they can do that. They generally tend to do that. That's, I think, fairly standard. I need that vampire book. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It goes into clothing trends, movies, vampire lore, music based off of vampire themes. It's all outdated information depending on which version of the book that you decide to buy. But I know it would even mention websites back in the days from the early 2000s that were also vampire themed. It's a good read. I'm not sure what edition they're on or if they're still publishing it. The version I had, there was an image of David from the Lost Boys on the cover, and it's a big thick Bible-sized book, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. One of my goals is to see every vampire movie. That's that's going to take a few years to get through. Are you talking about like the major ones, modern ones, or even like the really bad B films, the ones that nobody would even bother watching? I know there are some really bad ones out there. But yeah, I love the vampire genre. That's one of my favorite genres. I used to collect vampire lore. I've gotten away from that over time. As long as it's not complete trash. I hear you. I've seen it doesn't happen often. I'm a completist. If I'm watching a movie, even if it's bad, I try to see it all the way through just to know what happened. There have been some that have been so bad they didn't interest me at all, and I turned them off probably within the first 5 to 8 seconds. You can just tell when something's a stinker and you don't want to waste time on it. But yeah, that's rare for me to just go and shut something off. I do try to stick them out. That's a weird thing that I have about it. Okay, yeah, I steer clear of the really terrible straight to video stuff. I watched a lot of bad straight to video growing up. Same thing with like a lot of cheap B films. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Chainsaw Hookers. No, I'm sorry, not Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. I haven't seen that one. I'm thinking Chopper Chicks and Zombie Town. That one's a lot of fun. It's silly. You do have the horror elements. I wish I could go over the plot in detail, but I haven't seen it in so long. I'm due for a rewatch. It'd be the same thing as just watching it all over again for the first time. But I have that about a lot of movies. I go through long periods without rewatches because I do. watching something and feeling it's the first time I've seen it. I'm funny like that. Okay, so I started from the beginning with Nosferatu. That's a good one. I prefer the silent film version. The remake is pretty good too. The Werner Herzog. I struggle with pronunciation. Sorry. Um, I like all of the dark fairy tale elements in it. What's her name? Isabella Johnny. I think she does an excellent job. But yeah, I like both versions of that film for different reasons. But if I had to choose a favorite between the two, I'd go with the original silent film. Then Dracula 1931, Bela Lugosi became my favorite Dracula. Yeah, I love him, which is funny because a lot of people would mimic the thick Hungarian accent thinking they were doing a Dracula voice. No, that's just Bela's accent. The Have you seen the Spanish version of Dracula? I believe it was filmed that same year. They used the same exact sets as the original Dracula. The only thing that was different was that they had a Spanish cast. There were, excuse me, some slight differences in the story itself, but the costumes are definitely a lot more showy than the costumes worn by the cast members from the English speaking version. Obviously, they were wearing more Hispanic clothing, things that draped off of the shoulder. So that's what I mean by it was more showy. People weren't buttoned up all the way up to their neck. But yeah, that one I think would be a pretty good one to check out also. Some people seem to prefer the Spanish version to the original one. I saw Nosferatu on YouTube with the color tints yellow for daytime, blue for nighttime. Yeah, I think I've seen that same one. If it was the one that was re-released by Kino Lorber, where they definitely filled in some of the gaps, and it was I think a more complete version of the film. I don't know if you have Shudder. Joe Bob Briggs also showed that on the last drive-in. I love how he gives little background information. Like I love researching films and finding out as much as I can about movies that I enjoy, but he always mentions something that I wasn't familiar with, and right away my first thought was, where did you find that? I need to go look that up. Yes, the Spanish version I would definitely recommend. I liked it. I don't really have any complaints about it. Same thing, I'd have to go back and watch it. I used to have a tradition where I would work my way through the old Universal monster movies. So I think I used to do it around New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and I would go into the first week of the new year where I would watch one of the classic films. Like I went through Frankenstein, I went through The Wolfman, I watched all those sequels. I watched some of the modern day stuff, and then once my week was done, I would just go back to my regular viewing. I don't know. I just think it's a fun way of watching stuff. Plus, it got me into watching some of the more classic stuff. I'm familiar with the monsters, but I haven't seen too much of those older Universal films. I think I heard about the Spanish version from James Rolfe of Cinemassacre. Yeah, I know he does some pretty good horror based stuff. Um, I'll leave it there, but yeah, he's fairly informative. He did an interview with Joe Bob Briggs also. I don't know why I keep circling back to that, but I think that went fairly well also. Let's see what else. Yeah, I don't know if and when I would be taking my break. It may be in a couple of weeks from now, so I will definitely be keeping up with the weekend streams. I promise I'll do better about having topics. The Spanish version of Dracula that we're talking about, that was also mentioned in the Vampire Bible. That's where I learned about that one originally. But yeah, it went over a lot of stuff. I've been meaning to see all of the Universal monster flicks, but only seen Dracula so far. Yeah, Did you watch the original version or the one that was rescored with orchestra music? I like the orchestra one. I think I find it more entertaining. Just having the background music makes a world of difference, in my opinion. And then, of course, if we're talking about that Universal Classics monster set, I went through all of the Dracula sequels also. Half of the Invisible Man. I have not seen any of those yet. The ones that I'm really wanting to watch is The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love the creature design, so I'm looking forward to when I eventually get around to watching those films. I'm just going through my box set chronologically in whatever order the movies happen to be stacked in rather than release dates. Oh, okay. Saw the original without the music. It had Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to each their own. I know, let's see, even the Nosferatu, it's been rescored to industrial music and all this other stuff. There are a lot of creative versions of stuff out there, so definitely room to play with things. But yeah, let's see. We're getting close to the 2 hour mark. I know I'm kind of trying to stick in there until we hit the 2 hours, just once again, just because I'm funny about being a completist. Let's see. The one you saw is scored by Philip Glass. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm not too familiar with all of that. I'd have to go and look everything up, but thanks for the information. Uh, let's see, from the older stuff, I'd have to go back and watch a lot of the older Criterion stuff also, but I've seen, is it Haxion, The History of Witchcraft? I thought that one was pretty good. I know there are a lot of classic images that come from that, whether they're in GIFs, memes, all kinds of other things. But yeah, I'm not sure which Universal monster I would want to see next. I did do Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein. Is Gilman, Gilman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and no, I think Phantom of the Opera was in that also, wasn't it? Yes, I did see the Frank Langella one. I kind of like how they incorporated some of those James Bond 007 filming techniques. That was probably the trippiest part of the film, but I think it's also one of the better adaptations of the Dracula films. Langella, if I remember correctly, was also a theater actor, so he really knows how to carry a scene. I think he's a very excellent. Yes, the weird romantic scene. That's the one I was describing with all all those psychedelic colors and all the James Bond techniques and all of this other stuff. It was pretty weird. Yeah, I remember watching that back in my college days, and it was a fun watch. I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I think so. I know they changed some of the things around, like I forget what exactly, but I think it's Lucy's father who ran the asylum. She later became a zombie type vampire. Yes, red lasers and smoke effects. I think it's the only thing that stood out. Like it had nothing to do with the time period that was being portrayed in the movie, so it stuck out like a sore thumb. But I don't think it was badly done. I don't know. For some reason, I think it oddly works with the film. But yeah, it does stand out. It's kind of weird. It's a bit of a weird film. What was I watching a few weeks ago? I was watching some documentary on, I think, UFOs, on the trail of UFOs, night visitors. I don't know if you've seen or heard of that one. I think it's from a series of documentaries, but this particular one was discussing cattle mutilations, which is why it caught my interest because it reminded me of, darn it, I can't remember the name of that ranch now. Skinwalker Ranch. I think it was Oliver Lawrence's Lawrence Oliver, sorry. Lawrence Oliver's last performance. I wouldn't be too sure on that. Sorry, I'm not familiar. Okay, he was Van Helsing. Yeah, I want to say the last time I watched that was maybe 2015, the last time I rewatched it. I'm due for a rewatch on that one also. Trail of UFOs. Yeah, it's one of those. I don't want to say it's one of those low. Sorry, I don't want to say it's one of those low budget documentaries. It's definitely independent. I watched half of it. I need to go back and finish watching it. But yeah, On the Trail of UFOs, Night Visitors is what this one is called. I was going to write a review for it on morbidlybeautiful.com. I'm also a film reviewer for them, so I do written reviews for the website. So that was one of the ones I was going to do for them. So I need to get back to finish watching that. Yes, I've seen documentaries on that. There have been a few that were released on them on that topic. I remember the first time I heard about it, it creeped me out. I had never heard of anything so freaky as the things that happened on that property. I don't know if some of it's made up or if it's all just 100%, but yeah, there seems to be a lot of weird stuff that goes on there. Even I think three dimensional portals, cryptids appearing in and out of out of shining lights. I don't know, it's a lot of weird stuff, but I would recommend checking out the documentary. I'd have to Google that one also. The One of the researchers, one of the guys who actually studied and lived on the property for a while, made the documentary. It wasn't The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. It was an older one. I'm pretty sure it was an older one. I know it's on Tubi. If you watch Tubi, you can definitely watch it there for free. Um, let's see. I'm not finding it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm finding podcast episodes, mostly TV episodes. I don't think the 2013 Skinwalker Ranch is the one that I'm talking about. They've also made low budget movies based off of the events that supposedly did or didn't happen there. I think it's the name of the. I know it was originally indigenous land, so that's probably where that came from. It's a mythological being. I believe it's kind of similar to the Wendigo, but yeah, I mean it's an actual creature, but how that became the name of the ranch, I don't know. But supposedly the land is cursed, and that's why all this crazy stuff happens there. No, I don't actively seek out stuff like that. I'm I'm a Texas girl, so I know there's a place out here. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Marfa, Texas, or the Marfa Lights, but there's some weird phenomenon that happens out there also with kind of like these glowing lights. They approach you, they pull back, they vanish. I mean, they're non-harmful, but yeah, it's a weird event that happens out there. I'd be curious to check that out. If you watch the sky closely, you can see little white dots moving across the sky. It could be a UFO or maybe just space junk. Honestly, I've always assumed it was a satellite, maybe even a star that's burning out, things like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've never given them much thought, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not much for stargazing. I do love looking at the nighttime sky. I'm not too familiar with many constellations. I know we're not on the topic of that. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to like fringe UFO, things like that, I'm more like a casual observer. I don't know too much about that. So, but yeah, as far as seeing a real UFO, no. I've seen shadow people. Those are real. I have seen a few during my lifetime. Currently in the house that I'm staying in, it has happened here. I haven't seen any during my stay here, but I have seen them in the past. I saw them in my old childhood home, and back then I just thought they were figments of my imagination. I didn't know there was such a thing as a shadow person. You have to see if it changes direction. The Possibly. Yeah, I guess that would be a giveaway as far as the white lights, not just moving in a straight line. Okay, see, I've only seen things that move in straight lines, so no, I haven't seen anything then. But yeah, whoops, sorry, that was my knee popping if anyone heard that. But yeah, it's been a fun chat. I liked hanging out with you guys. Slipknot fan, you had a lot of fun, interesting, awesome conversation. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to go ahead and jump off. I've been streaming for about 3 hours, but I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hopefully you decide to come back next week if you did enjoy this casual format, and I promise I'll try and have some topics lined up for you guys. So we can definitely keep the conversation moving and a lot more entertaining. Okay, a meteor is just an organic UFO. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. All those little lines, the little lines. I can't talk now. Those little glowing lights moving in straight lines. Thanks very much. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, I really appreciated it. You have a great weekend. Also, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. You take care. Also, stay safe. Once again, thanks to everybody for stopping by. I appreciate the conversation. I always have fun and enjoy myself, so I hope you guys did as well. But I will let you guys go for the evening. Thanks for stopping by, and good night.